Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Carl Albert's Israel Doctrines MCEO page, and I'm bringing my SCRBG brethren on South Carolina RBG, Shakem, Akhet on the
Peace,
ground in Charlotte. Peace. How you doing? On the ground in Charlotte. Every other night getting it in and stuff. I don't know if he out there every night, so I would say every other night pretty much out there getting it in with the revolt that's going on down there in Charlotte. People, if you go to certain places, you'll see him all over the place. He been on CNN. They didn't capture this footage. We got Tariq talking noise about him and stuff. So he down there during this time of revolting crisis in Charlotte. But he taking the time out before, he go do what he got to do today to holler at me, and I'm honored to have him on here. I had him on before. We done talked about what's been going on down there in Charlotte. And as I said at that time, he got his feet on the ground, and he around the KKK and them folks. And we know what happened to Darren Seals. So we're going to take our time and talk to this brother while he's down in the midst of the storm. Peace, how you doing, bro?
Man, peace, brother. Man, I'm doing all right. Just out here enjoying some of this weather. Trying to really stay in tune with what's going on. We got a very critical situation. There's a incident, as y'all know, with Keith Scott. A murder was involved. The police chief and the mayor has been doing everything in their will to prevent the video footage from coming out. When that happened, we knew that it was time for us to hit the streets and revolt. The Charlotte Metropolitan Police Department has a long history of cover-ups. They have a long history of, I would say, racial tactics as far as, traffic stops. And, when you start looking at it, when you start peeling back the layers of the problems in the city, you see it goes back, man, as far as education and economic down spiral. So it's very it's a situation that is very dire, and the people just decided to get together, and everything just exploded and erupted, brother.
Okay, so tell us about it. When did this all start, and when did you get involved in it?
Well, the shooting happened last Tuesday. I decided to hit the ground on Wednesday. Wednesday, we had a meeting at one of the parks up there in Charlotte. So, man, you got a lot of the All Lives Matter crowd, and, you got George Soros and his informants out there, of course. But, this isn't my first rodeo, so I know and understand that you got to change the narrative. So when I came out there, I immediately grabbed a bullhorn and started speaking to the people about the frustration and the pain that, the victim's family was feeling and how the people are feeling. So at that point, my whole thing was, we have to make sure that we change the narrative in the media. The media always, has their tactics, and they want to pull the kumbaya, and, they want to keep, people from, expressing themselves truly. So that was our first goal. We did that. We started crashing the media. And as you know, and I put the video up how it all began because, Tariq Nasheed puts out a little, he has on his show the other day about how supposedly I took a group of people, I took a crowd of angry protesters who wanted to go protest at the police station, and I took them into the business district and supposedly put them in a situation to where, the riots began and they were able to harm the people and all kind of stuff. I put that video up showing well, that's false. One thing that, we did pride ourselves on is the fact that the area that we were in, when we were directing the crowd, we wanted to make sure that there were no businesses of people of our descendant, our ancestry, or whatever you want to call it, our color, whatever. We didn't want any of our people's businesses to be burned, to be destroyed, or to be looted. That's why we directed our people to the white business district in Uptown Charlotte. We take pride in that. No black-owned business got burned or looted or destroyed. None of them.
Now, let's deal with that a little bit because you say we. Explain to us the video that you put up and what's on the video and where they can find it, please.
Okay. Well, the video I put up is a rebuttal to Tariq Nasheed's claim that that I voluntarily took them in Uptown Charlotte so that the SWAT team and the National Guard could come down on our people. But that was far from the case. So the video just actually shows when we first got together. And when we first got together, you know, as a crowd or as a group, we went and we immediately crashed the Time Warner News channel because the lady was out there reporting, and we heard her make some disparaging remarks about an angry group of black people. And then she, you know, they always refer to you as Black Lives Matter. You know, even though, you know, we ain't no Black Lives Matter, but you know how they go. They'll see a group of black people and they'll just automatically say, oh, that's Black Lives Matter. So we wanted to converge on her, you know, to take over her live news feed and let the people in the city know that we want the videotape released. And we wanted to let them know that we will continue to escalate until the video is released. So we took over that. And what happened is, at the same time we were taking over the video, the live feed from the news, there was a young lady in the audience. She turned around and she was telling us that there was a shooting at the Omni Hotel in Uptown Charlotte, right up the street from where we was at. At that time, we decided that we need to go up there because they said they was unleashing the tear gas. They had tear gas coming, and they had the SWAT teams out there. So if there was a group of protesters, we needed to go and meet them. Actually, it was the first group that we saw. They started going downtown first. So when we went downtown, we met up with them. Man, it was just chaos from down there. And then that's when the looting started. The SWAT team, they started throwing the tear gas. What they were doing is just basically using, they had something that they were using called a flashbang. What that flashbang does is, you know, it just makes that loud, like sonic boom type of sound. So they dropped that on us when we were in Uptown Charlotte, and they just really started trying to split everybody up. And then since we was down there in the white business district, I mean, just everybody just started looting. Brothers breaking windows, it was crazy. I even had to take some videos down from my live feed because, you know, as you walk and you just see people just breaking in windows and breaking in stores. But that area that we were in, there were no black businesses in that area. And we wanted to make sure that we kept our people safe during that time. Because, you know, they always talk about how, you know, we always destroying our own neighborhoods. So we wanted to keep it out of our neighborhood.
Okay, so answer me this. This was the first night or was this another night?
This was the second night. This was the second night.
Okay, the first night, did y'all run into reporters? Because I was watching your live feed and what was going on, and it seemed as if you ran into two male reporters and you was telling them, you know, that or y'all was telling them that you know, they wasn't doing nothing for us, and he wanted to shake some hands, and it was like no handshake. We'll need no.
That was the second. Yeah, that was the second night. See, the first night, it was more so, I would say, just the families and the friends and the people in the community venting their frustration. So nothing really popped off the first night. You know, brothers and sisters had to get themselves together, and you know, the frustration was just building. So the second night is when everything jumped off. The first night, you know, everything jumped off, but not like the second night. The second night was pandemonium. That was when all hell broke loose.
It seemed as if people seen what happened the first night and said it wasn't effective enough. So we going out here tonight and be more effective, or how was the?
Well, probably the word. Remember, it happened kind of late at everybody. Well, there was a big concert that night in Charlotte. Puff Daddy was out there and Bad Boy. So what ended up happening is that a lot of people wasn't really, I would say up to speed on what happened until kind of like the next day. So the next day, that's when more people were aware of what happened and more people was kind of like ready to get involved. So that next day, that's when everybody just hit the street and really just started going berserk. Yeah, that's
so. Where's the centralized voice of the movement, or is it one? And have you helped in having a bullhorn and speaking out and being somewhat of a centralized voice for all the people?
Yeah. Well, I almost didn't even intend for it to be like that. I just wanted to get out there and help people, but I guess it ended up turning into me being in the middle. I guess because of my experience, and not only that, because my understanding of history, and I understand how these other groups like Black Lives Matter, these All Lives Matter, these counter revolutionary groups, we basically know how they operate. So my whole thing is, I'm for every act of rebellion against the enemy. And I know a lot of people, they say, well, they out there protesting, they not doing nothing. But you'd be surprised. A lot of the crowd out there was 18, 19, 20, 21. And I was able to meet a lot of young brothers and sisters who are fearless. And when you plant that seed in a lot of those fearless young brothers and young sisters, they listen to you. See, they want older brothers who have knowledge to come and take the lead. That's what they want. That's what they're looking for. But I think we do too much sideline quarterbacking and Monday morning quarterbacking instead of getting out there and talking to the young brothers and sisters while they out there revolting. So that just happened to kind of like make me the leader by default, and I kept having to tell, when the reporters would be like, well, he's the leader. And I kept having to tell them, no, I'm not the leader. The people are the leaders. But that's the only reason that it kind of made me appear to be the leader, because I understood how, to direct the energy of the people out there. And so what we're doing now is, the city right now is spending millions of dollars on SWAT teams, helicopters. They got the National Guard out here. So the city is just spending an exorbitant amount of their resources. So the message that we're bringing now is upon the family's request, they want the rest of the video to be released. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay out there in the street. We're going to make them spend money, as much money as however it takes, until the rest of the video is released. And after the rest of the video is released and we have an opportunity to look at it, if it, we're assuming right now that it wasn't a gun or it was a glove or something, but we know it's kind of funny. So we still just have to keep putting pressure on the police chief and on the mayor, and we have to work in conjunction with the family and the attorneys. The family has not buckled. So, right now they're still standing solid. They're not telling anybody to stand down. They're still, giving the green light, which is always a good thing when the family is working in the court. So, we want to just make sure that the family receives justice. And we want to make sure that any sort of acts of, covering up by the police force or the police chief, we want to make sure all of that is uncovered.
So have you made these, or the family or you made these wishes known that at the end of the day, everything that's going on now is because the videotape is not out? The rest of the videotape is not out?
Yes, that's step one. So basically what we want to do is move in steps, right? So step one is the continued release of the videotape. So, the first thing that the police chief did is after we was applying the pressure, he released the videotape, but you